updating us on what is on the headlines this morning of the Daily Nation. Police hunt down chief of exam theft, and according to what she has said, there are two main suspects who they have been on the trail for and are now in police custody and are going to appear before courts later on today. Of course, right here on KTN News, we certainly are going to be following up that story to find out who they are, to what extent. And let me now just come back to the panel that I have here, and I'll start with you, Weda, on your thoughts on some of the comments made by the CS there and even the education PS. And it sounds to me like they almost have found them guilty, despite the fact that they're going to go to court.
But I've said here the other time, but I said this brouhaha by the CS and her team. She has just announced that the exams are actually taken and photocopied by people before they are taken to the center. I said here, exams are stolen before, not inside the exams. So that even if you have guns and machine guns and artillery inside, if it had been stolen, it has been stolen. And they have just announced that some people take the exams, then they photocopy, and they are ready to make the answers. That means that this going around into places in the morning and trying to open exams and containers is drama. They should have put in place policies. She has announced a raft of things on the day of exams. How do you implement them? Those are things they should have thought about earlier and implemented and checked whether they are working. Then they work on them. But today saying some teachers should not be in their houses, some should not do this, policemen should be standing here. If you want incompetence, please don't go and look for it elsewhere. It is there at the examination. Examination is stolen before. And she has announced this. Then the people they have arrested, they are talking like they're already guilty. For instance, if they say that these people had fake exams and fake answers, then how do you charge them with leaking exams? How would it be? If I write some of my questions in my house, then I put answers, and I'm going around with it that I have exams. If you arrest me, can next say you are doing our exams? I can only be charged with either trying to extort money from people, pretending, but NEC cannot say this is our exam. I think the minister next year should sit early, put in place policies and actions, what is required to prevent the integrity of the examination, and then you can sit and watch. Walking around and walking into schools and intimidating children and going there with the police and scaring them. I have seen girls peeing on themselves just because somebody has shouted on the day of exams. There's a lot of fear. Exams generate fear. So the minister, please relook at your actions on this and the peers and the press and so on. Now they have also caused panic. There are other students who feel, oh, kumbe others have already gotten access to this, others are stealing, others are what. Some information during the exam, you don't go out and addressing people. This drama, they should stop.
They should stop, all right? And just to bring you, to put it into context, according to this story on the Daily Nation this morning, 31 people suspected of involvement in examinations irregularities have been arrested countrywide. They include 24 teachers. You've got 4 policemen, a bazaar, and 2 photocopiers, and that confirms what the CS has just announced. Although the big catch for them, from what they've said, is the 2 main ring leaders who, according to the PS, Belio Kipsang, basically says that have been, at the forefront of the cartels when it comes to exam leakage. And that's on page 2 of the Daily Nation this morning. Honorable Kipruto Arapkira, do you agree with Weda that there's more drama and, basically PR stunts as opposed to the actual action that we should expect to stop these cartels?
To a certain extent, but I do not want to disagree with the minister entirely, because what she said yesterday when she was in Machakos County is that whatever they are doing is just some kind of first aid, but they want to look at the raft of issues, plow through them, and get serious policy decision, and also inculcate in our society the need for us to do the right things at the right time. What worries me most is the fact that there are 14 teachers involved, which means it is a problem that is already pervading our society. Number 2, I'm also worried that parents are willing to go the extra mile to buy exams for their children, knowing that this is not a ticket to heaven. They are going to go to the universities or various institutions, and if they don't have the requisite capacity to handle the exams when they get to university or other places, these are the children who cause a lot of dropout at the university. Now, a solution should be, what do we do with our society? And I can tell you, Michael, and I've repeatedly said this before, and I will say again, as long as society is replete with bad manners, the rest of us are going to copy what the leaders do. You know, it is something that we must, as a nation, say no to bad manners, no to illegal exam leakages, no to getting wealth when you don't deserve it. That is the only way people can wait. But if we now giving the epitome of success as getting all the things that you have dreamed of overnight, regardless of the means, that is where the problem is.
That's where we go wrong. And talking about integrity and, you know, getting money and wealth in illegal ways, we have a story which is both in the Standard and the Nation. And this is to do with James Mugon Disho, alias Dr. Mugo Wawairimo. This is the man who, remember, a story was done on him where he, on page 4 of the Nation, where he basically was giving his patients drugs, then raping them. And that was done. He was arrested, charged in court, but somehow managed to come out again. And he has now been caught operating another clinic. Whether this has to stop somehow.
I'm telling you, it is sad. It's very sad. Let me start by, I saw the funeral of a small girl on the news. The one was bitten by a stray dog and she died. She wanted to be a doctor. That is purpose buried. Maybe the cure for HIV buried.
It was in that child.
And then you see a member of parliament coming, we mourn this girl. What was going on in my mind? Don't we have drugs in our local op stores? The dispensaries, things like for rabies, basic drugs. And I thought that's what the MP should be talking about. Say, why didn't we have this? Because the lady was saying, I didn't have money. So when you see that I didn't have money, and how can somebody die of rabies? A girl. And we have dispensaries all over, millions, the county, the national government. And the MP is not raving and feeling sad. It's just we mourn with the family. Now you see the likes of this one. Not that they're in hiding. They are only people who collect money from them. You know here, if you are in the run in this country, you will not be arrested. We'll always be collecting money every time. That's how people continue brewing changa in the village. They do all sorts of things and they are hiding.
They are known.
The chiefs will collect money from them, the police. It's a source of fund. So this fellow would continue. And because you know he has an issue, this policeman would go in the morning, another one will go tomorrow. So there is, it's like a bank account for those who are supposed to arrest him. So don't be surprised when you see him. And then because he has money, and there are also some rogue magistrates, you go there and you pay and you go on. And since everybody is stealing in terms of billions, you find somebody doesn't seem to care. I only say I was there, was it on Monday, when I said pain is the seed for change. When you allow these doctors, these quack doctors, you take money from them, and then they continue hurting people. One day they should also come to you. They treat your child. Then when you feel the pain, you'll just go and arrest them the same day.
And I guess that speaks to what Honorable Kiro was saying. Bad manners must stop. And when we call it bad manners, it may sound diluted, but it is actually a matter of life and death. It is now 5 minutes to 7 o'clock. We need to take a short break. Also, as we release our KTN Home viewers for different programming to begin on KTN Home. But here on KTN News, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, it's time for the State of the Nation. And let's find out what kind of a pulse we have when it comes to the nation. So we take that break. For KTN Home viewers, we say goodbye.